Okay, folks, sorry I didn't put out a video yesterday. I'm trying to do one video a day, and this channel is becoming mostly video cassette and DVD and movies in general reviews. So this particular movie I just picked up today at a thrift shop in Modesto for 25 cents. It came out in 1979, and this is going to be a little bit of an educational video about the history of home media as well as video rentals. So today we are reviewing Phantasm, directed by Don Coscarelli? I don't know. It's Italian. So I was digging through the VHS and talking to my friend Jonathan, and I said, oh, this movie looks interesting, and it's a very early video cassette, Phantasm. And then he proceeded to tell me that this movie is a cult classic revered by many. So this is a 1981 release on the company of Magnetic Video, which was then sold to 20th Century Fox. And what I like about this particular tape, it's 42 years old. It was also, the label fell off, an X video rental. So this was a video rental from a place called VIP Video, 2479 Silverado Avenue in Cupertino, California, which is about 90 miles to the west of me in the Bay Area. Warning, do not tamper with cassette or label. So, and then they wrote in pen VIP on the label there. And it's a Avco embassy release. Scotch case, made in the USA. You could tell right there, it's got a lot of playtime, and it looks like a tape player VCR ate it at one point because it's kind of crunchy. So what's amazing to me is this tape is 42 years old. The audio was still awesome, and it did have a lot of artifacts. So it was very shadowy and very faded, but it did play, and it was legible. It's just kind of I would like to see that in 2016, apparently J.J. Abrams really likes this movie, and he contacted Don, the writer and director that wrote this movie, and put it out over the course of 1 year between 1978. They did a 4K restoration in 2016, so I would love to see a restored version of this and see how it comes across. I like the literature for the box. So, again, the name of the game with this movie is low budget. This movie cost around $300,000 to make, and it was riding on the coattails of Halloween, John Carpenter's movie that came out a year before in 1978. And basically, this guy had a bunch of no-name actors and aspiring actors play in the film, and he had always been tinkering with motion pictures since he was a kid. He was very interested in it. And it scared me. I had to stop this movie multiple times, as low budget as it was, and for what it was, it scared me. And it's a movie of the time. It's like, if you watch this movie, it's like taking you back to the 70s. There's bell-bottom pants, foofy hairstyles, sideburns, and wide-collared shirts. My favorite era of fashion, probably, to some degree. But let's talk about this film. So like I mentioned, it cost $300,000 to make, and they would shoot it on the weekends only in the San Fernando Valley. Him and his friends and his mom would help with the special effects, from what I read on Wikipedia. And it said that, like I said, they took a year to make, and they said the script was always being changed and improvised, and there was never real, here's the daily script that we're going with. It was just kind of a fluid thing as they would make it. And it follows these two brothers. Jody is the older brother, and Mike is the younger brother, and then their friend Reggie is an ice cream man. And there is this cemetery and mortuary nearby, which now I wished I would have written the name. I think it was Castle Castleview or Parkview or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's supposed to take place in Oregon, but as soon as I saw it, I could tell it was the LA area. You could just tell by the hills in the background. It had a very LA-esque San Fernando Valley vibe. So this movie was super low budget, and since the script was always changing, it felt very choppy. And it's called, a lot of people call it a dreamscape science fiction horror movie. And it did kind of, you didn't really know, is this really happening or was this kind of fantasy? Phantasm. So, you know, I don't know. It made $15 million at the box office, so it was a huge success, even on limited release. I think they released it in California and Texas, and this movie has entered into the realm of cult classic status. It's what you would call a B-movie horror, but then apparently it's got much deeper subplots, and they say that every time you watch it, you'll find something new and different, and it deals with death and dying and childhood terror, kind of like the movie It, where the kids have these scary things that they're afraid of, and the It creature would play off that. So to this movie, the main kid's kind of a younger guy. I would say he's around 13, 14 years old. And then his older brother was like a 24-year-old guy. And there was this undertaker that they called the Tall Man that the director had met on another movie and then cast him. And the guy kind of just ad-libbed a lot of the stuff, and he was scary. And I think the guy's character's name was Scrum or something like that. But there's lots of late 60s hearses driving around. There's lots of mausoleums and graveyards and pointless boobs, because what 70s horror movie is it if it doesn't have some pointless nudity? Anyway, I was like, I'm not sure. And first I was like 2 out of 5. Then I settled on, the more that I thought about it, I thought, you know what? It's worth more than that, but it's still a B movie to me. So my review for this film is 3 out of 5. I see that it's a cult classic, but to me it was good and it scared me, but I do not know if I will watch it again. However, this did have 3 other movies that came after it that span all the way up to 2016, that the main guy, the Don Coscarelli guy, wrote all of them. So these movies are beloved. Like I mentioned, J.J. Abrams was a huge fan. And IMDb, they're 6.6 out of 10. So you see a lot of people kind of identify it as a B movie. Rotten Tomatoes, 74%. But then those Google users, this movie hits home for a lot of people, 88%. So this is an important movie for a lot of people. If you see here on the box, there's this weird metal sphere that embeds into people's faces, and then this drill drills into them, killing them. And it was so cheesy and so stupid, but I was like, still, you know, I was scared. And it's basically, I didn't realize this until later afterwards. Like, I had to read about the movie, like, to see what I was witnessing. There's apparently, well, I don't want to give any spoilers in case you haven't seen it. And I'm going way deep into my movie review here. This is a longer movie. I didn't take very many notes, but there was just so much to say about it. And I'm not like into super gory movies, but I like older films. Like, you know, Saw, not really for me. Couldn't get into like Midsummer or any of those ones, but this type of movie, I enjoyed it. I recommend it. And I just like the history of home entertainment and early VHS. 42 years old, and you can still sit back and enjoy it, although it was terrible quality. Like I said, I'd love to check out the 4K restoration of this film. So this one is going into the archives. I would love to get a t-shirt screen printed of defunct video rental stores. That's $1 million idea that I just gave away for free to everybody that's watching my video. So again, early VHS, that's a cool thing. Some people really get into that. I had a customer, I was on an in-home sales call, and he collected early white box Disney VHSs. That's it. Until next time, Phantasm. We'll see you then.